Hello everybody! Welcome to Forest Folk, a game about befriending little creatures and living in a forest with nature. It's been a long time since my last video, but I've still been working on the game and I have a lot to show, so let's get straight to it. First of all, I've more than doubled the length of the game's soundtrack, though not all of the tracks are implemented yet. You'll be hearing some of that throughout this video. In the last video, I described my method for drawing water. It turns out that was completely insane and caused big time lag, so I redid the water to exist on a tile map. Still using the old method of drawing the water to a surface and masking out the edges, just without thousands of objects to mark the edges. You'll also see marks on the ground like this, where you can dig to unearth an item, and you'll see trails of dirt particles that are left behind by moles, who can also be dug up for a little treasure. Digging a hole creates a dirt item, which can be used to fill in any hole or water tiles. The alchemy GUI has been upgraded a little for clarity, and I've implemented a journal which tracks any named mixes you might discover. It has a categorized table of contents and will contain pages showing ingredient descriptions and information. I've implemented a few effects using these mixes, like a relaxative, which can be burned as an incense or poured out of a water pouch onto these dust lily plants. Dust lilies are a flower which swells and bursts with dust when a player or creature gets too close, knocking them on the floor. They act as a barrier between the initial forest area and the swamp. The swamp is a new area with unique plants and creatures, swamp grass and trees, reeds, lily pads with flowers, ginger, and these creatures called the dwarves. Dwarves will run around, snatching up smaller creatures and trapping them in cages. This can include your folk, who will have to be freed before you leave the area or else you won't see them again. Dwarves can be pacified with a bone, or if you've smashed up all their cages. Once the players unlocked a stamina upgrade, they'll be able to climb this tall cliff and enter a sub-area of the swamp, the mountainside. Here you can find the crow market, where crows will hang around their nests cawing for items. Dropping the desired item nearby will have the crows swap it for the item in their nest. For now they just sell some seeds and tools, but this will be expanded on in the future. At the top of the mountainside area you'll find an entrance to an interior. Here you'll meet Blackbean the Crow, who will play an important role in the story and progression of the game. He'll eventually have lots of dialogue and quests for the players. Blackbean's nest is the first implementation of another feature, interiors. Interiors exist as entrance objects in the main map, and when stepped into, they will teleport you far off into a pocket dimension area. Eventually the player will be able to build these tents in their home for extra storage or whatever else. Another feature I implemented to make Blackbean's nest is prefab areas. Basically I have a room in GameMaker where I can lay down tiles and objects, then during World Gen or gameplay I can load these pre-built arrangements into the game. There are a few layers of building objects that I can use to spawn a bunch of items like the trees here, and adjusting variables like stopping the player from grabbing from Blackbean's stash. The swamp will also generate with this cave entrance blocked by a few boulders. Once you've unlocked the pickaxe, you can enter the third area, the cave. The cave isn't totally feature complete yet. It has a few unique things. There's moss on the ground that will grow flowers when under a skylight. There are glowing spot fly hives, which can be plucked and taken home for decoration. The vines on the walls can also be harvested and crafted into twine, same as the gourd vines in the forest. Most importantly in the cave is the stone folk, the second type of folk that the player will meet and make friends with. These little golems can perform unique tasks like cutting plants and shedding their larger stones to search small crevices in the caves. They have different item preferences to the forest folk, so you'll have to go digging for gems or bring gifts from home to impress them. They will also give unique item recipes, though their stage of progression isn't completed yet. You'll occasionally notice in the caves that you're being trailed by a pair of hands on noodly arms. If you can't avoid these hands by ducking under a skylight, it can snatch your folk and pull them away into a distant cavern, which you'll have to go digging to find. Like the dwarves and pitchers, you'll have to rescue your folk for them to make it back home. I've also added a fishing pole and fishing. Fish will spawn over time up to a certain limit on the map. You can hold right click with the fishing pole to swing it around, and release to cast a line. Fish will take some time to notice the bobber unless you're using their favorite bait, then grab the hook and start pulling. Fish will cycle between pulling and resting. To catch the fish, you need to reel in during the rest phase. Reeling while the fish is pulling will strain your line, and after 3 times the line will break and the fish is locked. Different fish types will take more or less successful reels to be caught, upon which they'll be yoinked to the player and drop a reward item. then they'll flop around a while and return to the water and disappear. I've implemented a system for ambient sounds. I made and collected a lot of interesting background noises which play sporadically from random stereo positions. Each area will have its own unique set of ambient sounds to suit the setting. So those are the most visible changes I can think of now, but I've also reworked nearly all the major systems and old code in the game over the years. The inventory, journal, saving and loading, crafting, farming, item interactions, time, dialogue, pathfinding, world generation, foreground effects, quests, whistling, creature AI, everything. If you're interested to see more of the game and potentially try an early demo in the future, please join the Discord, subscribe on YouTube, and tell everyone you know about this game, about being friends with the Little Green Men. I'd love to hear any thoughts or feedback about the game, so leave a comment as well. And thank you so much for watching.